discussing the issues and celebrating the successes of the African American community. This is Another View.
Hello everyone, I'm Barbara Ham Lee. Welcome to Another View. Have you ever had what is affectionately referred to as a senior moment? You know, when you cannot remember where you placed your keys or a loved one's birthday is right there on the tip of your tongue. The question is, how do you know if this is just a part of the aging process or if it's Alzheimer's disease? What are the warning signs of Alzheimer's? How do you cope with a loved one who has the disease? And are you aware that Alzheimer's disease is more prevalent among African Americans than among whites, with estimates ranging from 14 to almost 100% higher? Joining us to clear up the myths and give us the facts about Alzheimer's is Patricia Bartosch, Development Director with the Alzheimers Association, Southeastern Virginia chapter; Sharon Babbs, Chair of the Virginia Beach Hampton Roads Memory Walk; Jim Allen, who cared for his father with Alzheimer's; and Patricia McClain, who cares for her husband with the disease. Thank you, everyone, and for joining us here today on Another View. Now, first of all, what is the difference between Alzheimer's, Patricia, and dementia? Or is it the same?
Well, dementia is actually a symptom, and dementia, some of the symptoms of dementia are memory loss. There are about 60 to 80 causes of dementia, and Alzheimer's just happens to be the most common cause of dementia.
Okay, so it is the most common cause. Now, there are
Absolutely.
10 specific signs of Alzheimer's, and I want to get to this early so that people understand the difference between forgetting our keys or that senior moment and whether or not it's something serious. So the first one is memory changes that disrupt daily life. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
An example of that would be someone who's overcompensating because they cannot remember. So they're putting Post-it notes all over the house to remind themselves of where things are, what they need to do. We all normally forget as we get older, but when you find yourself, for instance, overcompensating to remind yourself, that could be a warning sign.
That could be a warning sign. Okay. Challenges in planning or solving problems.
Yes, exactly. For instance, you know, doing a crossword puzzle, if you could breeze through a crossword puzzle and you're finding it
becomes
difficult,
really hard.
Or simple math, you're finding it difficult.
Okay. Difficulty completing familiar tasks at home, at work, or at leisure.
Cleaning. You know, everything just sort of becomes overwhelming for you. Work, you cannot complete assignments. All of a sudden, you're getting confused about what exactly needs to be done.
Okay. Confusion with time or place.
You will find that, you know, you don't know where you are, or you think you're someplace, but you're not where you were supposed to be. And again, this confusion of where you're supposed to be.
And these things have to recur a couple of times. I mean, not just once.
Exactly. I mean, you know, all of us go through where we're trying to get from one place to another, and you're like, now how do I get there again?
Yeah.
But this is a cause for concern if it happens more often than not.
Okay. Trouble understanding visual images and spatial relationships.
I can give you an example of a stop sign has a very specific design to it, not understanding, no longer understanding what that is, breezing through the stop sign because you don't understand what the sign means.
Don't remember that that's what it is. Okay.
Yes.
New problems with words in speaking or writing.
Yes, for instance, searching for words. Again, we all search for words and eventually we'll come up with the word. But for instance, if you see a glass and you say, that thing that I drink water out of, you cannot remember that it's a glass. Okay. Those types of things.
Okay. Misplacing things and losing the ability to retrace your steps.
Right. We all lose our keys, and if you find you cannot even remember, you know, where you put the keys, or you find the keys in the refrigerator.
Yeah,
for
that's
instance.
one of the commercials that are on right now, as a matter of fact, where the lady puts the keys in the freezer, and the husband looks like there's a problem here.
Exactly.
Okay. Decreased or poor judgment.
You will find, for instance, someone who was once upon a time very reserved is all of a sudden, you know, wearing revealing clothing or inappropriate at times when they're supposed to be appropriate.
Okay. Withdrawal from work or social activities.
Examples are people who normally go to mass or go to church, and all of a sudden they're withdrawing from that. They're not meeting their friends as often as they used to. They're sort sort of clustered at home, not wanting to go out.
And the last one is change in mood and personality.
Yes, and that is
That's
pretty
pretty
much self-explanatory, yes.
Yeah. Sharon, your mother?
Yeah, my mother had Alzheimer's, yeah.
Did you notice some of these signs? How did you
Well, I was long distance like Jim also, and my dad and my sister would tell me, you know, something's not quite right. And you think, oh, well, you know, she was 60 at the time, and, you know, memory loss, misplacing things, it just was out of character for her.
60 is considered what they talk about early onset Alzheimer's, because technically, I guess regular Alzheimer's, if you will, is after 65. Is that, am I correct in that? Okay, so.
Yeah, one in 8 people over the age of 65 is said will have Alzheimer's disease, and then of course as you get older, past 85, it's 1 in 2 people.
That becomes even higher. So, but for your mom, this was earlier.
It was very early, very unexpected. I mean, she was sharp as a tack, could remember all phone numbers. I mean, she was a telephone operator by trade, so she never wrote anything down. So like Patricia said, starting to write things down that she wouldn't normally write down, and then she got to the point where she wasn't writing anything down, she just couldn't remember, you know, so those signs were prevalent.
Now, Jim, you were long distance also. Your father was here.
Yes.
Living here or living elsewhere?
No, my father was living out of state.
Okay. And
I lived here.
What happened
in
the beginning?
When my father got Alzheimer's, it was pretty evident to my siblings at home. And, you know, of course, they would call and tell me that he was doing certain things that was out of the ordinary. Me being the oldest son in the family, my dad and I had a pretty close relationship together. And when he began to get in the latter stages of the Alzheimer's, he would only listen to me, giving him advice as to what to do. Dad, take your medication. Dad, you can go to bed. You don't have to go home, because a lot of the times he would get up in the middle of the night and want to go home. I'm going home.
Okay.
And my mother would call me, and I would talk to him and say, "It's okay, Dad. You don't have to go home. You are home." And he would calm down, and then they could handle him for another period of time. When I would go home to actually see him, and he would I want to go home, then I would put him in my vehicle and just drive him around town. And I'd drive him around for an hour or so and bring him back, and he was satisfied.
And he would be okay.
Yeah,
I want to get a little bit of each of your stories before I start asking you some specifics about how you deal with the disease and as caretakers and as children of people who experience this. Patricia, your husband currently has Alzheimer's, correct?
Yes.
And where is he in the disease, and what is that like for you?
For right now, he's unable to communicate. He cannot tell me if there's a pain that he may have, or if he wants water, or if he's hungry. He's not able to communicate that to me. He goes to daycare 5 days a week, but at the same time, it's very tense, because it's like I'm on call 24 hours a day. When he may get agitated in the morning, it's hard to get him out, or in the evening, it's hard to get him down. Just like Jim says, sometimes he just want to walk, and when he walks, he walks. I think for me, you have no life. You become very confined in taking care of the person. He understands that I'm his caretaker and not his wife.
How is that for you? How long have you all been married, first of all?
We were married 10 years this April.
So to have your spouse go from, you know, loving you, caring about you, knowing you, to him looking at you now as, you know, you could be any other nurse, I assume. How do you deal with that emotionally?
Prayer, by the grace of God. It is difficult, because he said to me one day, he said, you don't do anything for me. And I had to pull myself back, and I broke down. And I had to say to myself, it's not him, it's the disease that he has. And I keep relating to that. It's not him, it's the disease he has. And it's very hard. It's very hard to watch him deteriorate to wherein we had a very good relationship, to wherein now it's like I'm just another person. It is very, very hard.
Patricia, one of the hardest things in terms of being a caretaker is that you can't personalize this very personal disease.
Exactly.
So talk to us a little bit about some of the training and the care, and Sharon, I know you can jump in here on this too. Actually, all of you can, but in terms of how you protect yourself as a caregiver, so that you can rationalize that this person that you love is not reacting out of their own will.
Well, most of us just by nature are nurturers. So one of the things that the Alzheimer's Association does is take care of the caregiver or give them the tools to know how to deal with the person with the disease. I think we just feel that, you know, if you were a mother or a sister or brother, you can just, you will know what to do. It'll be second nature. But there's certain ways that you can communicate, as Patricia said, not to personalize what is going on, but to keep in mind that this person has a disease, and it could even be in the inflection of voice that you use when you're speaking with someone, you know, just communication. And we provide these tools through family support groups that the chapter has, family orientations that the chapter has, and encourages people to take advantage of and really not go it alone. And what happens is a lot of people think that they can go it alone.
And they really do need that support. Sharon, how important is humor in the process?
You have to have humor because, like Patricia said, you have days when you really want to break down and cry, you know, but I think the support group is helpful, especially when you're with people that have the same experience that you do. And you can say, it's not just me. You know, mom is, you know, not recognizing me. Mom wants to beat me up because she thinks I'm a stranger in her home when I'm not a stranger, I'm her daughter. You know, so the support group I think is very, very important, and that's how I got involved with the memory walks, and this year I'm the chair. And I give back my time, you know, to the organization.
Talk to us a little bit about the memory walk and
what
exactly
I'm real excited about the memory walk. This year the memory walk will be October 11th at the oceanfront, starting at Neptune Park. And we have teams. We encourage everyone to form a team, or you can walk independently as a participant. We raise money, and the money goes for research, and it goes back to the chapter for the services that are provided. And that way I feel like I'm honoring my mother and giving back to others that have the disease, you know, because, you know, she's gone, but there are still many people that are still here with it.
With the disease. Jim, as a person who was living away, talk to me about the family dynamics, because I'm sure that your brothers and sisters who were there probably experienced things a little bit differently than you did.
Yes, they saw it happen on a daily basis. So they saw the gradual decrease in my dad's capacity in relating to the family and any situation around us. One of the things that you were talking about, humor, I didn't see much humor. I didn't have much humor in that situation because being the oldest son, our roles changed. I became the guy to respond like a dad to my dad. My dad was acting like the child. And so we were able to get things done like that for a long period of time before his demise. So it's really a tough disease, and I really think that it's time for our community to really get involved.
Now you did something a couple of weeks ago to
talk
about or to help out with the disease and the fight.
Yes, my family has been involved in teamwork for Alzheimer's since my dad passed, throughout different states. And locally, as a member of one of the car clubs locally, the Mustang and Ford Club of Tidewater, I organized a fundraiser to raise funds for the Alzheimer's research.
And are you going to make that a yearly thing?
It's going to be a yearly thing. It's our first event is going to be held tomorrow, July 11th, and the next one will be the second week in July next year. So. If you got old cars, muscle cars, motorcycles, things
Just
that
come
you
and join
think are
in.
special, bring them out and show them. Yes.
Okay, fantastic.
Barbara, if I
Yeah.
could, I wanted to add why an event such as the one Jim Allen is putting together is so important. A lot of people think that the Alzheimer's Association is government funded, and we're not government funded. We rely on donations, we rely on special events, and we also rely particularly on the Memory Walk, which is our signature event. So really, we're extremely grateful to third parties such as Mr. Allen's organization to help us raise funds.
Let me ask you also, one of the problems with Alzheimer's patients is wandering. And I know that there are certain bracelets. There's a group out of Virginia Beach, I believe, that has a program where they help locate Alzheimer's patients if they wear. I kind of refer to it kind of like LoJack for people. I mean, in essence, is that true? And is that working?
Yes, we actually have partnered up with Medic Alert, so that would be the bracelet that has whatever ailment you might have or disease factor you might have, and safe return. So in communities such as here in Virginia Beach, if somebody is wearing that bracelet, as a matter of fact, you can there's a small fee associated with getting the Medic Alert bracelet, and the chapter can help with that. But this is one way of retrieving people who do wander. Okay.
As a caregiver for your husband, do you have children, and how are they involved?
My children are grown. My daughter is here, but I don't put the burden on her because, again, I feel it's my burden. So it's basically just me. Sometimes she will step in and say, you need a break, and I will take it. But other than that, I'm the main primary caregiver.
But do you reach out to others, Patricia? And like, for instance, do you have someone come in and kind of relieve you? So, like for you to be here today.
He's at daycare.
Okay.
But I think when I started off, I didn't, because it was my independence. I felt like this was my responsibility and I needed to do it. Then the person that takes care of him during the day, she said, you really need some help. So then I gradually started seeking out. Then I would have an aide come twice a week in the evening to help him out. And that worked out pretty good. But again, everything is financial.
Yeah.
Everything is
There's
financial.
a poem that you wrote. And you want to talk to us about it?
Yes, this keeps me going when I feel like I'm on the verge of a breakdown. It said, if Curtis could, he would say thank you. Thank you for the changes you made, all the work you do, and the sacrifices that you freely give. You have shown in all the thankless tasks you perform. Thank you for being aware of my moods and what they mean. Thank you for your commitment to my physical well-being. You take me to the doctor or the hospital and advocate for me. Sometimes there are medical professionals that can be too zealous and other times too passive. Never have you failed to look out for my best interests. Thank you for protecting my dignity when helping me with bathing and wandering and toileting. Thank you for watching me closely so I don't run away and get hurt. It is extremely and nervous-wracking to feel like you can never relax for fear of what I may do. Thank you for running interference for me so that I may not overwhelmed by the confusing world. My family and friends know how to get the most out of our visits because you have taught them well. Thank you for knowing when to let me have my way doing temper tantrums and when to protect me from my stubbornness. Thank you for saying no to me when it takes a lot more energy to say yes. Thank you for distracting me so I can calm down. Thank you for telling lies when truthness was so important to our lives. You tell me things to only smooth and protect me and to deceive me. Thank you for taking time out for yourself. I need you for the long haul.
So that really does sum up, I can tell from all of you all's reaction, what it means to have someone in your life who is going through this disease. We're just about out of time. I just want to ask you very, very quickly, in terms of research now, I mean, there are some drugs that are coming out and so forth, but basically this is a disease that people have to just go through. Is that
Yes.
right?
One of the things that people, for lack of a better word, panic about is the fact that we still have not found a cure for Alzheimer's disease. But there isn't a cure for heart disease. So what researchers and scientists are doing are finding ways to slow the progression so that eventually we might be able to manage the disease, such as we manage diabetes or manage heart disease. And one very important thing that I would like to stress is that Alzheimer's is not a normal part of aging. And since we are talking about the African American community, if I can quickly say that a University of Michigan study found that a lot of African Americans don't take the proactive steps for early detection because they think it's a normal part of aging.
So the message is it's not normal. Go get checked and get help. Thank you all so much for joining us. This is valuable information that our community needs, and we will continue to follow the walk, and good luck to you with the car event, and thank you so much again for sharing with us. And if you would like more information on Alzheimer's disease, please visit www.alz.org or call the numbers on your screen. Our thanks to Patricia Bartosch, Sharon Babbs, Jim Allen, and Patricia McClain. When we come back, a story of hope in the midst of tragedy. But first, here's a look at what's happening right here in Hampton Roads. Welcome back, everyone. It's a yearly tradition. High school students all over the country visiting their hopeful college of choice. So it was for Frank Jones, a student from Canarsie High School in Brooklyn, New York, who came to Norfolk State University and left a changed young man, determined to become a Spartan. Sadly, Frank never realized his dream, but from his story comes a message of hope and determination for us all. Here's Lisa Godley.
Going on a road trip, a road trip, a road trip.
For high school seniors considering college, the college road trip is a must. Some consider it a rite of passage, a young man or woman's first glimpse at the place they'll spend the next 4 or more years. During what's usually a weekend venture, you get to tour the campus, meet potential classmates and professors, and explore all a school has to offer. That's just what Frank Jones did last March. Frank, a senior at Brooklyn's Canarsie High School, visited Norfolk State University with a group of classmates. While visiting the campus, Frank spoke with NSU admissions counselor Robert Williams, who remembers their conversation quite vividly.
After I spoke to him, I gave him an opportunity just to contact me regarding his future, not necessarily regarding his attendance to Norfolk State. He like I said, he was having none of that. He was like, I'm going to Norfolk State University, and I like the things that I've heard, and he was really, really excited about going to Norfolk State University.
Frank's feelings about NSU and his own life were caught on home video on the trip home to Brooklyn.
I just learned a lot of stuff on this trip about being responsible and stuff like that. How like nobody's gonna wake up in the morning to go to school, and you gotta take the responsibility that's just set. And that my favorite school was Norfolk, but it felt like I was at home. Right? As the guy sat there, as the guy stood there and talked, he like inspired me to go to the school and do better in school now. Because it's like, time is too short to be wasting time.
Frank was right about time being too short. 5 weeks later, just 1 month before he was set to graduate from Canarsie High School, he was gunned down.
I received a call from Mr. Smith, our director of admissions here, and he told me what had happened. And he received an email from the counselor there at Canarsie. And in the email it said that one of your future students and one of your future graduates was senselessly shot and killed in New York City. And that at that time they would like for me and Mr. Smith to come up and speak at the commencement.
Williams says one thing he didn't want to do was change Frank's message.
Time is too short to be wasting time.
Williams and James Smith, NSU's acting director of admissions and a Canarsie High School graduate, made the trip to New York and spoke to the students.
It was a wonderful experience for me to go back and to talk to young men and women who are, at that stage in their lives where they have to make choices and decisions.
The class of 2009, I salute you.
It was sort of a bittersweet moment because we went to meet the family of a young man who had decided that Norfolk State was his choice. This young man decided that he was going to change his life, he was going to turn his life around, and that choice was to begin at Norfolk State University.
He had applied and he had been admitted to Norfolk State University. He was waiting for his orientation date. What we did when we went up there, we made a presentation to his family. It was an official certificate of acceptance from Norfolk State University, and we put it in one of our frames that are typically used for graduation degree. When we presented it to the family, wow, that was such a moving moment.
While Frank won't be attending NSU in the fall, Williams and Smith hope his story will inspire others to take their future seriously and make the necessary changes.
No, don't play with it. Don't play with
it. Don't play with it. I want to, it's touched me. It's a message that reached down and touched me. Just to think that, we never know, and we never know how we're going to be used.
For Another View, I'm Lisa Godley.
Words of warning and inspiration. Don't play with it. We need to take care of our health. We need to take care of ourselves. We hope you've enjoyed this edition of Another View. Please check out our website, anotherview.tv, and sign up for our eView newsletter, a weekly reminder of upcoming program topics. Send us your thoughts about the show, and remember, you can always write us at 5200 Hampton Boulevard, Norfolk. Next week, we're talking about your money, how to save it, when to spend it, and how to make it work for you. We'll see you next time for Another View.